Hey everyone, welcome to another Keymaster episode. I'm Sven Rajala, and today I got one of my best friends,
Mike Kushner.
and we want to get into the topic of linting. So Mike, what is linting in the PKI world?
Linting, yeah. So lint is normally the stuff you get out of your dryer. And in the PKI world, well, it's more of filtering the lint. So a linter is essentially a last-minute filter you apply to a certificate or a TBS certificate before you issue it, just to catch that it's really to test that your profiles are matching up.
So meaning I can enforce compliance with my policy for how the certificate should be issued.
Exactly. So say that you have a policy requiring that a TLS certificate have a certain number of key usages, extensions. Your linter will double check that your profiles are according to the standard.
To adhere to it.
Exactly. So linters really came up in the CAB forum web trust context because mis-issuance is such a dire affair. So a number of linters came up. PKI lint from DigCert, zlint, so forth. Then about a year ago, Sectigo made the excellent move of combining every known linter, including a number of key linters, into one package called PKI Metal, which is the PKI Meta linter. So it's basically a container where you can pass a certificate or key, or actually even an OCSP response, and validate it against one of the built-in profiles and get a warning or an error, which can help you stop a mis-issuance.
So now you have a one-stop shop for linting instead.
Yeah.
Because you were saying before you'd have all these scripts, and you might run a series of them in a row to lint the cert through the various scripts, but now it's just send it to the PKI Metal and I can one call and be done.
Exactly. And as I said, it also encompasses a number of key linters such as
the Debian weak keys, I believe, right?
Debian weak keys, a couple of other known sources of weak keys, the ROCA check, of course, which we already do in the GBCA, but which is great to do it to get a double check on that. And doesn't add very much to the output time. And yeah, if mis-issuance is a big thing for you, then adding a linter is a great feature.
What about using it in my private PKI? Because like you said, it's used in the public side a lot. I mean, I could see a lot of value using that in a private PKI, especially if you're really operating under a policy and want to enforce the policy.
Oh, definitely. So looking at the various linters that PKI Metal supports, some of the profiles are pure CAB form specific, and following these profiles is usually not a bad idea, even for a private enterprise PKI. If you're issuing a lot of TLS certs, as somebody said, the CAB form rules are written in blood. So even for your sort of private enterprise PKI, following the CABF guidelines where they're applicable is usually a pretty good idea. Then besides the CAB form specific profiles for DV certs, for EV certs, and so forth, it also enforces, for example, standard RC 5280 profiles, and so for S-MIME profiles. So yeah, linting should definitely be looked at also outside the web trust sphere.
How complicated it is if I wanted to add my own linter to check some other extensions in a cert, or is that even common? Would I do that? Do I have a reason that I'd want to do that?
Probably. So PKI Metal specifically will use the well-known linters, but it is an open source project. You can always fork it if you want to add your own linter.
Or I guess you could contribute back to it too, maybe.
As well, yeah. If your linter
has
a general use, absolutely, you can put a pull request to PKI Metal, but you can also just add it yourself. And definitely and there, of course, there may be some checks your organization does which aren't sort of generalized. You may have checks, you may have a requirement that you have to publish to an LDAP source, for example, or publish information to another source. A linter as an external script can validate that has actually happened. And in case something is broken in your infrastructure and that didn't happen, you can stop the issuance there and then, have a complete rollback.
So now that PKI Metal is running a container, that makes it even more interoperable today, in my mind, when you're looking at being able to do more plug and play with applications, being able to get things to communicate a lot easier, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've supported linting indirectly in eGBCA for a number of years through the external command certificate validator. that validator has required our customers to run an external script alongside CA, which if you're running it in-house, of course, is no great issue, but having your CA software call on a operating level script is never a super good idea from a security standpoint.
Mhm.
So one of the things I love about PKI Metal is the fact that it is in a separate container. It doesn't matter where or how you've deployed eGPCA, as long as the container is available on the same network, you can call it.
Yeah, I just think that's a really good interoperability capability like
Yeah,
that.
because that has been, from our point of view, a somewhat of a limitation because we have some deployment models where adding a script isn't that comfortable. If you're running PKI as a service, for example, or on the cloud in general. But in this case, yeah, you can mount the PKI Metal container wherever you like.
And I guess last to finish out, have you seen any of the linters? Are they supporting PQC yet, or is that still kind of to come?
That is still to come. We've been, yeah, the entire market's kind of stomping at the bit to PQC, and everybody's waiting for somebody else to make the first move. We've been pretty. We think we think PQC is super exciting, so we've been pretty far ahead of the curve. But I think that's going to. I give a good bet that during 2025, that is going to start off.
Speed up a little
Yeah.
bit and sync up. All right, cool. Well, anyways, that's a little good talk on linting there, and we hope you enjoyed getting educated on what linting is and how it can be used, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.